Hey there BookTube, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I haven't put my face in these videos. For the last 8 videos that I did, I was sketching the Decameron and that was a lot of fun. You didn't need to see my face, but you saw my hands a lot of times. Today we're back to just me talking about books, talking about the things that I like and the things that you're probably here to watch me chat about. So because of the Decameron and everything that surrounded it, I didn't do a September haul, I didn't do a September recap. So today I'm going to start that process off. We're going to talk about the books that I acquired in September. I didn't do a lot of book shopping in September, which is kind of weird in itself because my birthday is in September, which means that I usually go buy myself a ton of books. But I have a ton of books behind me everywhere in this room. There are books that are still waiting to be read, so I didn't go out specifically looking for like a lot of books to add to my shelves. I did pick up a few because, hey, listen, I'm still a booktuber. I'm still a booktuber. I'm still a book hoarder. I'm still a book addict. I can't resist. But I didn't buy a ton of books. I did get a few as gifts, and I got a couple to review, and the rest are just, yeah, books that I couldn't resist buying even when I say I'm not buying a ton of books. So here they go. These are my nonfiction reads. These are the 2 nonfiction books that I got in September. This one was a gift from my friend Ferris, who never fails to get me cool stuff. This is In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day by Batterson. The subtitle is How to Survive and Thrive When Opportunity Roars. I haven't read it yet, but I will, because books that people give me especially, I am always intrigued to read them because I want to see what is it in this book that made this person want to give it to me. I kind of know about this one because my friend Ferris is someone that I have been close to for several years, and I kind of know what she wants for me. So I can't wait to get to that one. The next one is a memoir, The Glass Castle by Jeanette, and this is one of the books that we'll be reading later this year for our book club. Yes, the book club is still on, so stay tuned for that. So I haven't read this yet, but I did buy it because I want to have it when it's time for us to read it. The next book was also a gift. It's a Decameron by Giovanni Boccacio. It was on my wish list. I asked my friend to purchase it for me for my birthday, and I got it, and I read it in September. So this is a book that I acquired and read in September. That doesn't happen often around here. I buy books and I keep them for months and months and months before I finally get to them. So it's quite an accomplishment that I got this book and read it in September. Well, I didn't finish it in September, so I guess, but you know what? I read most of it in September. We're calling this a win. Next is one of my favorite and most influential books of 2016 was Interpreter of Maladies by Jhumpa Lahiri, and this was her Nobel. This one was her Pulitzer Prize winning book. It would be great if Jhumpa Lahiri won the Nobel Prize. That would be awesome. But she won the Pulitzer for this story collection. This was her debut story collection, and yeah, I've talked about this book several times. I read a copy from the library last year, and I've been on the lookout for a specific edition to purchase. I got tired of waiting. I saw this one, and I kind of like this one. I like the covers. I like the colors. I like the fact that they're fall colors, and we are in fall, and it's not a great copy. Like the pages, this is one of the many reasons that I don't collect paperbacks. The pages start to get yellowed because the pages are just not as good quality. But this is just a book for me to have, a book for me to thumb through, a book maybe for me to share with someone who has never read anything by Jhumpa Lahiri, because I'm always looking for people who haven't read her and want to experience her. So I picked this one up at the library sale, I think maybe for $2, and it's a book that I'll probably pass on to someone else. But for now, it's mine. I own it. I got it in September. The other book that I got in September that I have already read was Joshua Ferris, To Rise Again at a Decent Hour. This one I read a few months ago, and I have already talked about in a closer book. This one was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2014, I think. And even while I enjoyed certain aspects of the book, I wasn't sure that I understood everything about it, and so it's a book that I wanted to reread. I got this one in the library sale for $2, and it is in excellent condition. It's a book that I want to reread later when I have finished my 2017 reading challenges and I have some time. This is probably one of those books that I'll go to and study a little bit more in depth because I want to love it. It's a book that I think that I could love if I understood everything. For now, I'm not so sure. Other books that I got that I haven't read, don't know much about yet, is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson. This is talked about a lot on BookTube. I think it has something to do with a person who is constantly being reincarnated, or the various like sliding doors, parallel universe life experiences that this person has. I'm not sure. It has something to do with that. The quote that appears on the front of the book is from Gillian Flynn, author of Gone Girl and Dark Places, which is another book that I got, but we'll get to that. Gillian Flynn says, "This is one of the best novels I've read this century." One of the best books she's read in the 2000s, so she read a better book, maybe up to 1999. I'm just joking. This one is about, so the blurb says, on a cold and snowy night in 1910, Ursula Todd is born to an English banker and his wife. Ursula dies before she can draw her first breath. On that same cold and snowy night, Ursula Todd is born, lets out a lusty wail, and embarks upon a life that will be, to say the least, unusual. For as she grows, she also dies, repeatedly, in a variety of ways, while the young century marches on towards its second cataclysmic world war. I'm really looking forward to reading this one, but I don't have room in my TBR for it right now. It's over 500 pages long, so I will save this for some time when I have a little bit more time. I will save this for when I have a little bit more time to devote to a huge, influential, best novel of the century kind of read. But speaking of Gillian Flynn, I got Dark Places by her. This is the only one of her novels that I haven't read yet, and I got it from the library and I saved it for as long as I could renew that copy, but I eventually had to return it, and I returned it without reading it because I was not anxious to read the last book that she has published, the last book that she has out that I haven't read yet. What am I saying when I say this? Gillian Flynn has 3 novels and a short story out. I've read the short story, which is The Grown-Ups, which was first published in an anthology, then it was published as a standalone. I read Gone Girl, I read Sharp Objects, and Dark Places is the only other one. She stopped writing. She's working on screenplays or something, and I so enjoyed those 2 other books that I wanted to savor this one. I wanted to take as long as possible to read it because I know after that there's nothing else until she announces maybe that there's a new book. But I have it. So at some point later, I will read this book and I will tell you about it because I'm a booktuber and that's what I do. So, books that I haven't read yet: Life After Life, Dark Places, and then another book that I have been wanting to read for a while now but haven't picked up yet is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This is the first in the Neapolitan novel collection, and I've seen this book several places. I have talked about this book several times, but I haven't read it. Elena Ferrante, if you don't know, is a pseudonym for some maybe Italian writer, and nobody knows who she is. There are theories about who she is, the time that she writes in, the references that she makes. People think that they know who Elena Ferrante is, but she has never confirmed her identity. So for now, we're going to say that Elena Ferrante is an acclaimed author, but also the pseudonym of who knows which author. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I also got this one at the library sale for $3. And this is the French flap edition, which I really like. And it is blurbed on the back by Jhumpa Lahiri. The Neapolitan novel cycle is an unconditional masterpiece. I read all the books in a state of immersion. I was totally enthralled. There was nothing else I wanted to do except follow the lives of Lila and Lenu to the end. Jhumpa Lahiri, Pulitzer Prize winning author of The Lowland. I have all these books. I'm really starting a book collection. There's like a time capsule of books in my apartment. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to move on. The next book is The Lauras by Sara Taylor. And this book was nominated for a prize. It was nominated for the 2015 Bailey's Women's Prize for Fiction. And it was talked about here on BookTube when that happened. I wasn't a part of BookTube in 2015, but I have seen people talk about this one. I think Eric from Lonesome Reader I saw talk about this book. And I've been wanting to read it. I got it from Blogging for Books in order to do a review. They had some issues with their they had some issues with their shipment. So this book didn't actually arrive until maybe the last day in September. And because I was at that point totally immersed in the Decameron, I just didn't have time to read it. But now I will, and especially because the cover is a fall cover. Look at the orange and these little yellows. They look like the discarded leaves right when they fall into the ground, right before they rot. So I'm looking forward to reading this one soon, and I'll tell you about it because I'm a booktuber and that's what I do. But this book is blurbed by, let me tell you what she says first. Sarah Taylor's Dolores just persuaded me even more that Taylor is a writer of real gravitas and potency. It feels to read her uncanny, a bit reminiscent of reading early Atwood 3 decades ago. She's a writer whose talent, a fusion of sure-footed, calm, and uncompromising, is both quiet and prodigious. And this is by Ali Smith, author of Autumn, which I just got from the library a couple of days ago, and which I'm going to be reading because this is shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2017. So, did I tell you what the Laura's was about? The Laura's is after a fight with Alex's father, Ma pulls Alex out of bed and onto a pilgrimage of self-discovery through her own enthralling past. This goes through Virginia and California, and it is a coming-of-age story. We don't want to know too much about it. So we're going to read it. We're going to read it regardless because we're booktubers, and that's what we do. And the last book that I have to tell you about is The Mortifications by Derek Palacio. And I also got this one at the library sale. This is about a Cuban family that is seeking refuge in Miami and maybe about their experiences in that way. And unfortunately, I don't have any of the blurb writers' books. That's so disappointing. Anyway, it was fun while it lasted, right? So these are the 10 books. These are the 10 books that I acquired in September. So these are the books that I acquired in September. 10 books in all. 3 of them were gifts. 1 of them is a book that I got to review. And the others are books that I will read and I will tell you about sometime soon because this is BookTube. And that's what we do. So thanks for watching this haul. Leave me a comment down below if you saw a book here that you can't wait for me to read and talk about. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.